Hey y'all, thank you for joining me for another video. If you're new here, my name is Chrissy and I'm your go-to source for all things mindset motivation with a large dash of wellness. Today I wanted to talk about why it's so important to be able to grow and maintain discipline on your growth journey. So first and foremost, before I get into all the juicy details and explaining why discipline is important and everything, I wanted to give y'all the perfect example of how discipline can play into your journey. I have not felt like recording anything. Like I don't feel like recording this video right now. However, I placed myself in a space where I decided that this is something that I was going to take seriously and this is something that I was going to do consistently. And it requires a lot of discipline to push myself to record videos like this all the time, no matter if I feel like it or not. That's kind of the key of being disciplined. You have to be able and willing to do things even when you don't want to, because truth be told, you're not always going to be in the mood. And that's why I'm deciding to talk about discipline over motivation, because I think a lot of people get them confused. Discipline and motivation work together. However, you're not always going to be motivated to do things. And that's where discipline comes into the picture. When you're disciplined, you have built up the habit to do something that you know is going to move you forward. Motivation may get you in the mood to do the thing, but when you're not motivated, what do? A lot of people don't have motivation and then they decide not to take any action because they aren't disciplined. And you don't have discipline, oftentimes that leads to you not doing the things that you said you were going to do. And that in turn keeps you from taking action that'll move you forward in the direction you're looking to go. You can't always rely on motivation. Motivation comes and goes, but discipline is a habit that you build up. It's kind of like building muscle memory to do something. So, like, for example, a lot of athletes have to do like really rigorous training to play different sports and things like that. If you're not disciplined to go to the basketball court and, I don't know, shoot 100 free throws or whatever every day, then chances are you're not going to make the team. Or maybe I shouldn't use a sports example because I don't even like sports. If you are somebody who values your paycheck, you're going to get to work on time every day, right? You're not going to show up to work late every day. You're not going to keep calling out because you know you need to pay your bills or you need to use the money for whatever you need to eat. So your discipline is keeping you going to work on time every day rather than you being motivated to go to work, because who's motivated to go to work? Like, let's be for real. 9 times out of 10, you're not motivated to go to work, but you know it's something you need to do because you need the paycheck, right? That is discipline. You're disciplined into going to work and being on time, doing the job correctly, whatever, versus being motivated. Oh, I feel like going to work today. Most people don't ever feel like going to work. I know I don't feel like going to work when I have to go. However, because of discipline, I'm going to get there, I'm going to go on time, and I'm going to get the things done that will get me my paycheck. Discipline becomes even more important when you're looking to build new skills in your life. For example, like I was saying earlier, this is something that I am going to grow into a business. And since I'm looking at what I'm doing as a business, then it's not something I can just dibble dabble in when I feel like I want to do it, when I'm motivated to do it. It's something that I have to work into my schedule and be disciplined to adhere to the schedule and make sure that I'm producing content on a regular basis. Something else that I am disciplined in, if you watch my channel, if you're subscribed to me on YouTube, if you watch any of my videos on any other platforms, then you know that I'm into fitness. I am very, very disciplined when it comes to my fitness. I work out pretty much all week and I don't deviate from that, regardless of if I can make it to the gym or not, because it's something that I want to do for myself, not just for the physical benefits, for the mental benefits. I think the gym is also something good to help with building discipline, because going to the gym consistently requires a lot of mental strength, not just physical strength. And I'm actually glad I said that, because I would like to equate being disciplined to having mental strength, because it takes a lot of mental strength to stay disciplined. Staying disciplined is not easy, and I'm sure anybody can tell you that. Like, there are so many people who say they're going to do one thing or another and then they don't do it because they haven't built up the mental fortitude. They don't have the discipline. It takes practice to build up your discipline and to force yourself to do things that you may not necessarily want to do. But if you're looking to grow in any area of life, then discipline has to come with that. You're not going to consistently do things if you're not disciplined. When you're repeatedly doing things, even when you don't want to, you're building up discipline. Like, going back to my fitness example, when I started working out consistently, it wasn't something that I wanted to do. It was something that I forced myself to do, pretty much. It was something I decided that I wanted to do consistently in my life. And I had to force myself to do it on the days where I didn't want to. Even if I didn't go to the gym that week, I would still work out at home because, like, this is something I told myself I was going to do. So I have to make it happen one way or another. Building discipline isn't really like a black and white thing. It's going to look different for everybody. And the way you build up your discipline is also going to look different for everybody. So your level of discipline and the way you go about getting discipline may not look the exact same as somebody else. So you shouldn't compare your journey to anyone else's. Life is really just like a constant flow of making little improvements, figuring out how to do things better. It's pretty much just always moving. I would say that it makes it just a little bit easier to learn these new skills and to build yourself up. Because if you're not disciplined, then you're most likely starting something and then falling off. And it's a cycle until you figure out that you have to just keep doing whatever this thing is in order to get better at it, in order to see like real improvement in yourself. And truth be told, building up discipline takes a lot of work. And that's why a lot of people are not disciplined because you have to stick to it. Like I said, even when you're not motivated, you have to just keep going and do it on the days when you don't want to. Do it when you're sad. Do it when you're angry. Do it when you're feeling lazy. And that's not to say that you should never take time off, but you have to realize that we often go through like emotional cycles on a regular basis. And if we're always choosing to follow our emotions over doing the things that we're supposed to do, then we're never going to build discipline. There has to be some days where you're choosing to be disciplined over following how you're feeling for the day. So, like, if you're feeling lazy one day and you decide that you're going to just be lazy, you're not going to do anything, I mean, I would say that's fine for the day, but every time you're not feeling like doing anything, you can't decide to choose that option. There has to be some days where you're gonna go and do what it said you said you were gonna do over taking the day off because you don't want to build up the habit of choosing your emotions over the things that you know you need to do. Because truth be told, there may be a lot of times where you don't feel like doing that thing. It may not be fun. Like for me, recording videos often is not fun. However, I know it's something that I need to do. Going to the gym is often not fun. It's painful. Like I'm very, very sore right now, but I'm gonna go back on Monday because it's something that I told myself I was gonna do. And I've built up my discipline over the past couple of years to where to me, it really doesn't matter how I'm feeling. It's something that I'm going to do anyway. And you may not be someone who's trying to start a business or trying to lock in on your fitness journey. You may have something else that you're trying to do, and you need to build up the discipline in order to keep yourself on track. So, I'm going to give out a few tips that would help with building discipline if you're someone who is looking to build up your discipline and you're not really sure where to start. So, first and foremost, I would say you need to decide why you want this thing. What's your big reasoning as to why you want this thing? I'm just going to stick with fitness as an example because it's something that I've been doing for a while and it's something that I feel like I can really go into detail about explaining. But just keep in mind that this is an example and you should take whatever I'm saying about fitness and try to apply it to your specific situation. So my big why for why I decided to lock in on my fitness journey is because I felt like I didn't have any control over my life and I wanted this thing to show me that I can do anything I put my mind to. And for me, being able to stay consistent with this one thing has enabled me to stay consistent with other things. And being able to push myself at this one thing has shown me that I'm capable of doing the things that I say I'm going to do. So, really, for me, it was about building my self trust, self confidence, feeling like I had a sense of control because life often feels like it's out of control, at least for me. And really, for me, fitness was an outlet to escape depression. And don't get me wrong, like, I'm not a doctor or anything like that. I'm not going to tell you to exercise your way out of depression. But I'm saying what worked for me when I was like at my lowest point that I feel like I've ever been in my life, working out consistently is something that really helped me to shift my focus. I guess to sum that up, my big why is that I needed to make a major change in my life. And I honestly just never want to reach a low point like that again. And everybody's why is different, but your why has to be important enough, or your why needs to be big enough that it will keep you on track the days you don't feel like doing anything. Like for me, like I said, I never want to feel like that again. And that's a big deal to me because I was a mess, y'all. Like, I was an absolute wreck. And now, fast forward, this is like, I would say like two, maybe 2.5 years later after I decided that I was going to get serious about my fitness journey. And I'm here trying to help other people see that with just small changes in your life, you can create whatever you want. I know that when I was at my low point, I didn't feel like I really had anybody that could tell me the things that I needed to hear in the way I needed to hear them. So that's kind of what led me here to doing these videos is I know there's other people out there that don't have somebody to tell them the things they need to hear. And I feel like I have the ability to spread these different messages to hopefully help somebody who's in a similar position to me see that things don't have to be bad. You can make little changes and become a different person. It really all comes down to what you're willing to do in your life. And a big part of making that work, at least to me, revolves around discipline. You build up your discipline, you can pretty much do anything. Another tip I would say towards building discipline and making things happen is to just do whatever the thing is, regardless of how you're feeling. Like I said, motivation comes and goes, but you need to be able to keep your why top of mind and then just keep it top of mind, regardless of how you're feeling. Go get whatever it is done. And I'm saying that, and you're probably rolling your eyes or something, but you need to realize that you literally just have to go do whatever it is you said you were going to do. I know people try to make it bigger than what it is, and people like to try and talk about, oh, I just don't know how to do it. You do know how to do it. You've done it before. Just do it again and keep doing it. Don't give yourself reasons why you can't do it. Just do it. Like Nike. Literally just go do it. You have to repeatedly do this thing in order to build up discipline. If you decide to keep taking like extended breaks, you're never going to get the hang of it. So whatever the thing is that you're telling yourself you want to implement in your life, you have to just go at it and keep at it. Don't let up. Keep doing it over and over again until it becomes second nature. Like it's something you have to do. You just keep doing it every single day to where it's a part of your routine. To where if you're not doing it, then you feel weird. And like it's a noticeable difference in your life when you're not doing whatever this thing is. Like in all honesty, I feel like you kind of have to obsess over it a little bit. You have to obsess over it to the point where you need to do this thing that is moving you forward, that's making you feel better. I will even go as far as to say do it even if you're not doing it at full capacity. Doing it, period, is better than not doing it at all. Even if you're not putting in maximum effort, I would say to just give it some sort of effort instead of not doing it at all. Because that way you're still building, you're maintaining the habit of doing it. You're building up your discipline. You're keeping this thing in rotation where it should be instead of just not doing it at all. Because like I said, you're not always going to feel like doing it. However, the earlier that you learn to keep going, even on the days when you don't feel like it, the easier it'll be down the line when you don't feel like doing it. You build up the habit early on to just push through on your bad days when you don't feel like doing it. Because truth be told, some days we're just feeling lazy. Like there's no real reason why we don't want to do the things we know we need to do. We just don't do them. But if you push through and do it anyway, when an actual day comes up where you really just can't do it, like you can't pull yourself to do it, you will have that discipline and it will be easier for you to push yourself along. Now, don't get me wrong, we're all human and there could be a time where you still don't do it because you're just in that bad of a space. But you'll be more likely to do it because you built up this habit, depending on whatever the situation is. Another tip that I would say is to make sure you have time to do whatever this thing is. If you're somebody who has a super packed schedule and you're trying to add one more thing in there, that may not be the smartest thing. How are you going to build discipline when you don't even have the time made to build the discipline? You may have to remove something from your schedule. You may have to shift the times that you do certain things. I don't know, whatever it is, however you can fit it into your schedule, make sure that you're making adequate time and don't give yourself reasons to not do it. So like let's say that you're somebody who works 9 to 5 and then you have to pick up your kids from school at 5:30. You have to make dinner at 6 p.m. I don't know, you have to clean the house at 7 and read your kids a bedtime story at 8 o'clock, and then you're ready to go to bed. I don't know how you're going to rearrange that, but you need to figure out how you can squeeze it into your day instead of like waiting until the end of the night and you're tired and you're giving yourself reasons to not do it because you don't feel like it. You're tired. You've had a whole day. I don't know, maybe in a situation like that, try to work on whatever it is during your lunch break at work or something, or get up before work and go do it. Just make sure you're making the time for whatever it is. However it fits best into your schedule, that's for you to figure out, but just make sure that you're making the time for it and not giving yourself excuses as to why you can't get it done. Because truth be told, we often tell ourselves that we don't have time to do things when in reality we do have the time. We just haven't carved out the time. You think you don't have the time, but you haven't made it a priority. So, like I said, if you're somebody who works all day, you have a lot of things to do after work, maybe consider waking up earlier and going to do the thing before work, even though you don't want to, but keep in mind that you're trying to build something. So there's going to be sacrifices, regardless of where the sacrifices come from. You're going to have to sacrifice some aspect of your life that you currently have in order to build the new life that you want. So if you have to miss out on a little bit of sleep to wake up earlier, to go, I'm just, like I said, I'm going to stick with the gym example. If you say you want to get into shape and you don't have any time after work to get that done, then probably wake up before work and go do something. It doesn't have to be like a super strenuous workout, but if you're looking to lose weight, you should make the time to do some sort of workout before work. And I don't know, maybe work in more days at the gym or your home workouts, however you want to do it, on your off days or maybe on your lunch break if you can swing that. It really depends on your schedule, but you need to make sure that you're making the time to get it done and not looking for reasons why you can't get it done. The last tip I'm going to give y'all is to extend yourself grace. Don't expect to be perfect at building discipline right off the bat because it's very, very easy to make mistakes. And there's nothing wrong with making a mistake, there's nothing wrong with falling off here and there. What's important is that you recognize when you fall off, when you make a mistake, and you put yourself back on track to continue doing whatever the thing is that you were trying to do. We're often hard on ourselves because we feel like we're supposed to be perfect at things all the time. I don't know why that is. It's something with the human brain because I'm sure that it's a shared experience with at least most people. Maybe not everybody. Some people may recognize that immediately and correct it. But for the vast majority of us, when we make a mistake, when we fall off, we don't do something to the highest quality that we feel like we could have done it, we often just want to give up and not do it anymore. When we should just take whatever time we need and then get back on track. There's nothing wrong with starting over. You have to give yourself the grace to learn from mistakes that you made and then pivot. If you're never extending yourself grace, then you're not going to be able to learn from mistakes you made and you're not going to want to move on because you're going to feel like it's the end of the world every time you make a mistake. And it's not the end of the world when you make a mistake. You're human. You're going to make mistakes. We're all going to make mistakes at one point or another. Nobody can account for making a mistake. And really, unless this is a repeat mistake that you keep making over and over because you're hard headed, there's no reason why you should beat yourself up over making a mistake. Now, I will say that if you keep doing the same thing over and over again and expecting results, I don't know if you bumped your head or something, but you have to realize at one point or another that you're not doing this right. And there's some place where you need to make a shift so you don't keep doing the same thing over and over again. However, if you do something once or twice and you do it wrong, don't beat yourself up. Give yourself space to learn and recognize what you did and then try again. You are not a failure because you made a mistake. You are just learning. You don't know how to do something and you're learning how to do it. And a lot of times, learning how to do things comes with making mistakes, having mishaps. That is okay. It's like when you fall off of a bike when you're learning how to ride a bike. Just get back on and try again. You don't have to stop because you fell off the bike. Just get back on again. Those are just a few tips I have for building discipline. There's numerous ways to build discipline. So if you figure out something that works better for you, definitely give it a shot. Try any and everything that interests you when it comes to your growth journey and things that you think might benefit you. However, if you need a few more tips and you're not really sure where to look, I'm going to be releasing an ebook with some more information on how you can start to try and implement. Well, let me not say try. I don't like to say try because you're either going to do it or you're not. I'm going to release an ebook with some tips that you can implement to build up your discipline. I'm going to have the link in the description if you're interested in giving it a look and implementing some of the tips.